Welcome to my video blog. My name is Bulat and let's talk about the finance and other economy news. Let's begin. Let's talk about the Russian ruble. Importers are checking exchange rates and thinking about changing their prices in Russia. The exchange rate for the United States dollar is now over 100 rubles. Importers are preparing to update their price list. The ruble has been weakening for several weeks since the beginning of 2024. The dollar has increased by more than 12%. As of November 25, the central bank's official rate is 102.5 rubles per dollar and over 107 rubles per euro. These levels were last seen in March 2022. Economists believe the ruble is undervalued and expect it to stabilize soon, but importers see these things differently. They are hesitant to raise prices again because of challenges this year, like higher import duties on wine up to 25% and new excise taxes. One importer said, customers might not accept another price hike, especially with Black Friday and the December sales season coming up. Right now we are selling stock purchases at a better exchange rate. In October we raised prices once by 12 to 18%. And we hope to keep their prices until the end of the year. By January we will release this based on the new exchange rate. The central bank notes that consumer demand remains strong, increasing imports. At the same time, import revenue from oil is falling, putting pressure on the ruble. Other factors, including the ongoing Ukraine conflict, new United States sanctions, and relaxed rules for exporters, allowing them to keep more earnings abroad for longer. Seasonal challenges also add pressure. Ksenia Ryasova, CEO of Finflare, explains, it's thaw. On one hand, we are giving discounts for Black Friday, but on the other, we are buying foreign currency at a high rate to pay Asian suppliers. Winter is late this year, so people aren't buying winter clothes. If we raise prices now, it will not help. We will just have to sell at big discounts and low margins. Maybe if the dollar hits 150 rubles, we will have no choice but to raise prices, said here. Some businesses are managing risk by setting internal exchange rates higher than the market rate. Entrepreneur Alexander, who imports equipment, says, we can't afford currency risk with low profit margins, so we pass this cost on to customers. For long deals, we add 10 to 15% cushion. Right now, we calculate 120 to 125 rubles per dollar. Some use forward contracts to lock in rates, but they're expensive, 5 to 7% of the deal's value. It depends on the situation, but we don't expect the ruble to strengthen anytime soon. Most expect the ruble to weaken further. On November 22, the interbank rate was over 103 rubles per dollar, and on Forex it was 108 rubles. The yuan also hit a record high of 14 rubles on the Moscow exchange. However, the Minister of Economic Development predicts a more stable ruble next year. The federal budget is based on an average exchange rate of 96 rubles per dollar. So, as Bloomberg says, a recent slump in the ruble is ramping up pressure on the Bank of Russia to hike its key rate, potentially by the most since the start of the conflict on Ukraine. The currency has weakened more than 9% against the dollar and 6% against yuan since November 21. When the United States sanctioned some 50 Russian banks according to central bank data, that's likely to exacerbate inflation, which the Bank of Russia has been struggling to settle by raising interest rates to a record high. The central bank has said it's ready to further raise the cost of borrowing, currently at 21%, to whatever level is needed to bring inflation back to the target level of 4% next year. That may mean the next step will be to hike to 25%, according to Bloomberg Economics estimates. The central bank faces a dilemma. Should it hike interest rates further, even though then lifts the risk of a recession, or just accept higher inflationary pressures, said Alex Isakov, BIS Russia economist. Policymakers will probably opt for the former. A demand for foreign currency has surged on the local market amid concerns that the new restrictions will significantly limit inflows. Officials have been at pains to downplay the impact of a weaker ruble, stressing in particular that it's boon for exporters. But with inflation running at more than twice the central bank's target, the currency collapse may force rate setters to act despite already painful lending conditions. United States sanctions trigger collapse in Russian ruble. New penalties have led to a forex shortage in the country. There are many seasonal factors at play, as well as budget payments and oil prices, told reporters during a new conference in Astana, Kazakhstan on Thursday. The situation is under control and there are certainly no ground for panic. President also said that other instruments could be used to fight inflation beyond raising the key rate, but ultimately it was the central bank's decision on how best to curtail price growth. Since the beginning of the year, the ruble has lost more than 21% versus the greenback, making it among the worst performing emerging market currencies. The Bank of Russia has used interbank transactions to calculate the rates since June, when the United States sanctioned the Moscow exchange, which immediately halted dollar and euro trading. Russian exporters and importers have been facing difficulties with international payments since the end of 2023, when the United States threatening secondary penalties against financial institutions working with Russia. New rounds of restrictions may complicate foreign trade transactions even more than reduce incentive for exporters to bring foreign exchange liquidity into Russia. In response, the Bank of Russia announced late Wednesday that it was halting purchases of foreign currency on the domestic market until the end of 2024. This may ease the current forex shortage, but it will not be enough to trigger a serious rebound of the ruble, said Evgeny Loktukov of Pромsvязьbank. What do you think about this? Please subscribe to the channel and like this video.